Vision is extremely important. It's a matter of life and death at times, to not only myself but the people that I'm charged with protecting. Now, with my vision corrected and not having to rely on contacts or glasses, I feel that I can provide a better service to the public.
Contacts in general bug me. I mean, you have to wake up, you put them in, you take them out when you go to bed. The stuff on the field, the fertilizer, the dust, everything gets in your eyes. You're dry by the fourth inning. And it's irritating. If the wind's blowing, if it's cold, your eyes water the entire time, it's just a mess.
Many jobs and hobbies require excellent vision, and glasses and contact lenses can be a hindrance. Imagine being able to wake up and see the alarm clock and have your morning routine be just a little bit easier. Imagine not needing to have glasses to see the world more clearly. Imagine seeing distant faces on the beach, or playing golf, tennis, swimming, or skiing without the inconveniences of contact lenses or the constraints of wearing bulky glasses. Hello, I'm Dr. Cory Lessner, and I'd like to take this opportunity to thank you for considering Millennium for your vision correction experience. We created this orientation video to explain some of the basic principles of laser vision correction and help you learn more about how these remarkable technologies are used to correct your sight. Over the course of the next 20 minutes, we will review how the eye works and why many require glasses and contact lenses to see clearly. I will describe how we determine who is a candidate and how laser treatments can be applied to the eye to correct visual errors. I will also provide you with an overview of the newer premium laser technologies and how they differ from traditional modes of correction. Finally, I will address some of the questions most commonly asked by patients looking into laser vision correction. If you've been looking into these technologies for some time now, please feel free to skip forward over the beginning segments of this video that deal with vision basics. To better understand how current technologies can be used to correct vision problems, a short review of how the eye works may be helpful. Your eye is like a camera with a series of lenses in front that serve to bring the objects being viewed into focus. When light enters the eye, it is first bent or refracted by a clear, strong tissue at the surface called the cornea. It then passes through the lens of the eye to focus incoming light onto the retina, the film in the back of the eye. Refractive errors occur when these two structures that bend light rays do not clearly focus objects that are being viewed. In nearsightedness or myopia, light entering the eye focuses images at a point in front of the retina. Nearsightedness is caused either by an eye that is too long or by a cornea that is too steep. The effect of nearsightedness is that distant objects appear blurry, while near objects, closer to the viewer, are in focus. Since the eye cannot be shortened, surgery to correct myopia is aimed at flattening the center of the cornea. In farsightedness or hyperopia, light entering the eye focuses behind the retina. Farsightedness is caused by an eye that is either too short or a cornea that is too flat. The result of farsightedness is that objects near to the viewer appear blurry, while objects in the distance may be in focus. As time goes on, distance vision is typically affected as well. Surgery to correct hyperopia is therefore accomplished by making the central cornea steeper. In astigmatism, the problem is not the length of the eye, but the fact that the cornea is not spherical and contains different curvatures. To use an analogy, the cornea is shaped more like a football than a basketball. The resulting impact of astigmatism is that objects are not focused into a single image and vision is somewhat blurry or distorted at any distance. Astigmatism often occurs in combination with myopia or hyperopia. Finally, presbyopia, or the inability to see close-up objects when distance vision is corrected, becomes apparent to most people in their early 40s. This condition occurs as the natural lens inside the eye begins to crystallize and lose its ability to change shape to focus on near objects. Since the excimer laser only treats the surface tissue of the eye, it cannot be used to directly correct presbyopia. About half the world's population requires visual assistance to see clearly at a distance. For centuries, the only way to correct these vision problems was with eyeglasses, and more recently with contact lens technology. Early attempts to surgically correct vision with techniques such as radiokeratotomy lacked accuracy and could only help those with smaller degrees of correction. Meanwhile, in the late 80s, scientists were looking to lasers as a means of improving the precision and predictability of refractive surgery. They focused on the excimer laser, designed by IBM in the early 70s to etch computer chips. Unlike other lasers that cause collateral damage in adjacent structures, this cool beam of ultraviolet light works by cleaving molecular bonds, vaporizing tissue a fraction of a micron at a time. In fact, the excimer is so accurate that it takes about 200 pulses from this laser just to etch through one strand of human hair. The first investigative procedures with the excimer laser in this country were conducted in 1988, and in 1995 the FDA had approved its use for treatment of low to moderate myopia. Now, just 10 years later, with today's new technologies, we're able to correct a broad range of nearsighted, farsighted, and astigmatic patients' vision with greater accuracy, safety, and speed than ever before. At the time of your visit, you may notice that we have more than one premium laser technology at the center. This is because, although they all use cold laser technology to sculpt the cornea, lasers vary in their delivery systems, and we may feel that one is better suited than another for your particular prescription to deliver the best possible visual result. One of our consultants will obtain some simple measurements to be certain that you are a good candidate for the procedure. We will gauge how stable your prescription has been, as well as measure your pupils to help us to better counsel you on your potential risk of nighttime glare and halos. We will also obtain a sophisticated color map of the cornea called an orb scan to help assess the apparent stability of your cornea. During this consultation, we will also want to understand your motivations for laser vision correction and make certain that your expectations are appropriate. It is important to know that although the goal of laser vision correction may be to eliminate your dependence on vision aids, these procedures do not always create 20/20 vision. Whether or not you consider your procedure a success depends more upon your perceptions regarding your vision rather than on the actual measured results. If you would be happy with having vision that is as good or almost as good as what you have with glasses or contacts, and you would be willing to sacrifice a small amount of clarity in order to be free of your full-time dependence on vision aids, then your expectations are realistic and you should be an excellent candidate. If, on the other hand, you are highly critical of your vision, change bothers you, and you would regret having the procedure if your uncorrected vision was even slightly less than it is with your current prescription, you should have further discussions about what is reasonable to expect during your consultation. It is also important to think of laser vision correction as a process rather than as an event. Everyone responds slightly differently to the laser energy, and although most patients are able to drive the very next day, vision may not seem optimal, may fluctuate, and about 5 to 10% may require fine-tuning of their vision several months later. Most patients, however, whose vision is somewhat blurry in the days following their procedure go on to have excellent results days to weeks later. You should therefore go into the process with the mindset that you may require some fine-tuning, also known as an enhancement in the future. These enhancements are usually quite easy to undergo and do not carry the risk level of the original procedure since the existing flap is lifted to deliver the additional treatment. Enhancements are even less frequent with the newer premium technologies that I will discuss shortly. I will now review the different ways in which the excimer laser is used to correct your vision. There are two locations on the cornea that these laser treatments can be delivered to achieve their effect: on the surface or under a flap. Each treatment is based on many factors along with that individual patient's prescription. The higher the prescription, the greater the amount of sculpting and the longer the visual recovery time. Based on your history and the eye measurements obtained, we will be able to recommend to you whether reshaping the cornea on the surface or under a flap would be the best option for you. The original procedures approved by the FDA were performed on the surface of the eye and were called PRK, or photorefractive keratectomy. During PRK, the surface layer or epithelium is removed prior to treating with the laser. Several new variants of PRK, known as epi-LASIK or LASIK, differ only in their attempts to preserve the epithelium that is reflected back before the treatment. The laser treatment is then delivered to the corneal surface, and the epithelium is repositioned at the end. For the purpose of this video, we will refer to all of these surface treatment variants as advanced surface ablations, or ASAs. In the early 90s, surgeons in Europe combined the accuracy of excimer laser sculpting with the comfort and rapid rehabilitation of a flap-creating procedure that originated in Colombia in the early 60s. When the laser is used to remove corneal tissue from its inner aspect after creating a flap, the procedure is called LASIK, or laser-assisted in situ keratomileusis. LASIK literally means to shape the cornea within using a laser. In this procedure, there are two steps. In the first step, the eye surgeon creates a flap of corneal tissue approximately 1/3 of its overall thickness. This flap of tissue, which remains attached by a hinge, is then folded back. In the second step of LASIK, the excimer's cool light beam is used to gently remove the underlying tissue. Following the treatment, the flap is laid back and heals in place without the need for stitches. To illustrate the difference between ASAs and LASIK, consider the analogy of a 400-page book with 50-page thick front and back covers. In ASAs, the cover of the book is first removed or folded back, the front pages of the book are in turn removed, and the cover is allowed to grow back. With LASIK, the cover and the first 100 or so pages are folded back on the binding, the middle pages of the book are removed, and the cover and front pages are put back in place. Both ASAs and LASIK can treat nearsightedness, farsightedness, and astigmatism, and both ultimately achieve the same excellent results. However, by the late 90s, LASIK had gained in popularity over ASAs and became preferred by most, when possible, because of its rapid rehabilitation of vision, measured in hours rather than days, and its greater degree of postoperative comfort. In addition, if laser retreatment is required, the flap can be gently lifted, whereas with ASAs, the entire procedure needs to be repeated. LASIK, however, does involve an additional step, the creation of the flap. Until recently, this step could only be accomplished with a mechanical device called a microkeratome. Now, an amazing new laser technology called Intralase has become available that makes the first step of flap creation even safer and more precise than ever before. Intralase uses femtosecond technology, which was originally developed by Harvard physicists in the early 70s and later earned the Nobel Prize for Chemistry in 1999. A femtosecond is 1/quadrillionth of a second. To give you an idea of how short a femtosecond is, there are the same number of femtoseconds in 1 second as there are minutes in the age of the universe, some 12 billion years. During the Intralase procedure, 15,000 pulses per second are precisely delivered at a specific depth in the cornea. Each of these pulses creates a microbubble with a byproduct of carbon dioxide and water. When close to 1 million of these bubbles are connected, a flap of incredibly precise, uniform thickness is created. There are some situations in which Intralase is clearly beneficial to patients looking into LASIK. In those who have been diagnosed with dry eye, Intralase spares some of the sensory nerves in the cornea responsible for reflex tearing than the manual keratome. Intralase also places less pressure on your eye than the microkeratome. Aside from comfort considerations, this creates greater safety for patients who are glaucoma suspects. Intralase can also allow some of those who were not previously considered candidates due to thinner corneas the ability to have the procedure. This is because Intralase is more accurate and hence flaps can be made thinner. Finally, although LASIK has been performed safely for years, many potential candidates have been resistant due to fear of the mechanical creation of this corneal flap. If fear has been a major obstacle to your pursuit of laser vision correction, Intralase should provide you the peace of mind needed to move forward with this procedure.
I've been wanting to do LASIK for approximately 5 years. I always had a fear of the cutting of the eye being done manually, and once I found out that they had the Intralase, that was all the laser technology to create the flap, it made me more at ease and put me at a comfort level with doing the whole procedure.
Coming to do the procedure, I was scared, terrified. Once doing the procedure, once it started, everything was awesome. It was nothing like what I expected. Coming out of the procedure, 15 minutes afterwards, I was seeing 20/20. Went home that night, slept, had no problems with my eyes at all. Woke up the next morning, came back for the post-op, and I was seeing 20/15 just the very next morning. And my eyesight now is, a few days later, is better than I've ever seen with glasses or contacts. And not having to rely on those for the rest of my life is invaluable.
This brings us to the discussion of premium laser technologies and how they differ from the traditional modes of therapy discussed to this point. To begin with, some background on the diagnostic component known as Wavefront technology is necessary. Wavefront was originally developed for use in high-powered telescopes to reduce optical distortion in space. First, a narrow ray of eye-safe infrared laser light is passed into the eye and directed to the retina. The light is then reflected off the retina, passed back through the lens and cornea where it is collected and analyzed for optical distortion and deviation from the ideal. It creates a fingerprint of vision, a map of irregularities inherent and unique to your visual system. This technology uncovers specific characteristics of your optical system never measured before using standard methods for glasses and contact lenses. To create the treatment plan, these patterns are compared to an ideal wavefront map, and the computer designs a personalized treatment plan that is specific for your own visual specifications. Most of the blur in patients who wear glasses or contacts is due to lower order irregularities or aberrations. These are known as defocus, which include myopia, hyperopia, and astigmatism. Until now, it is the higher order aberrations that we have not been able to explain, quantify, or address. It is these nuances or subtle differences in our visual system that impact on many of the quality of vision issues often discussed following laser vision correction. Wavefront technology is therefore groundbreaking because it has the potential to improve not only how much you can see in terms of visual acuity measured by the standard 20/20 eye chart, but also how well you can see in terms of contrast sensitivity and fine detail. Treatment of these nuances then should translate into a reduced risk of post-LASIK complications such as glare, halos, and difficulty with night vision. Traditional LASIK treats only lower order aberrations. Custom LASIK addresses both lower and higher order aberrations. Let's look at an example. If I were to give 5 people with -3 diopter prescriptions in each eye the same pair of -3 diopter contact lenses or glasses, they will all report that they are seeing as well as they have ever seen. For all 5, traditional laser treatments would be identical. However, in reality, all 5 may very well have a different wavefront image and therefore a different laser treatment plan. Let's say that one of our patients has a wavefront analysis that reveals 8% higher order aberrations. When we treat this eye with traditional laser vision correction, we are only going after the lower order issues that account for 92% of the visual blur. Custom treatments not only go after that 92%, but the remaining 8% higher order aberrations as well. This offers patients the promise of potentially seeing even better without correction than they ever saw with glasses or contacts, even if the outcome is not totally perfect. Custom LASIK trials also show a greater chance of achieving 20/20 vision and a greater chance of achieving better than 20/20 vision, along with a reduced chance of night vision disturbances and glare. About 6 months following the introduction of custom technology in the United States, the FDA granted approval in October 2003 to a newer generation laser system called the Allegretto, produced by Wavelight AG of Germany. Wavelight also uses wavefront technology. With a repetition rate of 200 pulses per second, Wavelight's laser is the fastest on the US market today. It operates 3 to 10 times faster and more efficient than other lasers and can treat 1 diopter of prescription every 4 seconds. This rapid treatment speed translates into less dehydration of the cornea and improved predictability and accuracy of results. The wavefront optimized Allegretto laser also can effectively treat patients with larger pupils. The expanded optical zones allow for treatments up to 8 millimeters, which can further minimize glare, halos, and potential night vision issues. Wavelight Allegretto technology also features a unique approach to corneal sculpting. The normal curvature of a healthy cornea is higher in the center. Most laser systems flatten centrally and cause a phenomenon known as spherical aberration, which degrades the quality of vision, especially at night. The Allegretto is the only laser system with built-in software that not only treats the cornea centrally, but also peripherally. The resulting more natural corneal curvature often aids in improving visual quality.
The surgery itself took seconds and there was no downtime, I had no pain, and the results at the end of it all were absolutely wonderful. Within 4 or 5 hours I could see, and the next day when I came in for my post-op, I was actually 20/20 on the chart. Now I have never had 20/20 vision, and to experience this, it's just like a wonderful gift, and I'm so, so blessed.
At the time of this filming, wavefront guided treatments are only available for low to moderate myopia with low to moderate degrees of astigmatism. Allegretto's premium technology is an outstanding alternative to custom and gives those individuals who are not good candidates for custom technology the ability to receive custom-like results. For these reasons, although patients have been raving about traditional treatments for years, if you are highly critical of your vision, have a prescription within the approved range, and want the most advanced laser technology available anywhere, you should strongly consider custom or Allegretto treatments along with the utilization of the interlace flap creation. I would like to add one final comment before leaving this segment. With so many technology options available at our center, it would be easy to feel confused trying to decide which option you'd like to move forward with. The decision in your mind shouldn't be premium versus traditional technology or interlaced flap versus mechanical. It should be, do I want to have laser vision correction and reduce my dependence on contacts and glasses? Our dedicated team will help you to make these decisions based on what we believe is best for you individually.
I got my first surgery at the end of the '03 season, and it seemed to go well up until about a month or so after the surgery. I realized that contacts, I would still need to be wearing them, the corrective lenses, in order to pitch in games. You know, the vision has to be extremely perfect in order to see the signs, and especially under the night lights. And so when I met Cory, which is about 5 months after my first surgery, he immediately told me that there was a solution to that. And he said it wouldn't take more than a few minutes, you know, my time going into his office, and it did. You know, I had to wait for a full season wearing contacts, and just, I could slowly tell that a second surgery was exactly what I needed. And Cory made me feel very comfortable about going in there and doing it, and not worrying about the effect in my eyes and how everything would work out well.
If you looked into vision correction surgery in the past and you were told that you were not a candidate, you may now be with the advent of some of the newer technologies described. Patients who were not candidates because their corneas were too thin, had previous radiokeratotomy surgery, or who were just not completely satisfied with the results of a previous surgery may now be a candidate for the procedure or an enhancement.
There are a number of people like me who only need reading glasses, who don't understand that you can have a correction for both the distance and reading without compromising the distance. For example, my distance is still 20/20, believe it or not. So what he's going to do is give me the ability to read with this eye, keep the distance here, your eyes work together, they adjust. And because my problem is my teleprompter it's at a distance, so it's not a problem. It's where that third chair is itself. But if someone gives me a script, or a newspaper without glasses. Yeah, and it's right. I used to be able to push it across the desk. Now my arm's not long enough.
As previously discussed, presbyopia, or the diminishing ability to see up close as we age, has more to do with the lens inside our eyes losing its ability to focus and change shape. By leaving or creating nearsightedness in one eye, we're able to restore some reading vision for people who are able to tolerate this change.
I've done a lot of research into LASIK eye surgery, looking at cost, looking at facilities, looking at technology. Although Millennium is not one of the cheaper facilities out there, it's well worth the price that I paid. I would actually, knowing now what I went through and what the procedure is like and what the benefits I received from it, I would probably pay double because it's immeasurable what the benefits I've received.
I don't envy the consumer looking into laser vision correction today, since I'd probably be extremely confused by the wide range of fees associated with these procedures, some centers offering quotes as low as $2.99 per eye. Consumers have begun to catch on to the fact that these fees are really never this low, and more importantly, that this is not merely a commodity. Here at Millennium, laser vision correction is viewed more as an art form. We are constantly striving to provide the finest in all aspects of your experience, including excellent service, unsurpassed expertise, and superior technology. I'm also one of only a few surgeons in the country whose practice is limited to laser vision correction procedures. In performing your due diligence, we hope that our efforts in guiding you through this process will allow you to see the value in making an investment in yourself and your sight through these life-changing procedures. I hope that this presentation has been both educational and informative. While I've attempted to include as much as possible how these advanced technologies work to improve your vision, no presentation can cover everything possible. While some of the presentation has been somewhat technical, it was not my intent that you understand every aspect of what was covered. However, these are your eyes, and in the partnership style of medicine that I practice, I would rather you have too much information than not enough. We know that your eyes are precious, and we look forward to providing you with a level of care and service that exceeds your expectations. On behalf of the entire staff at Millennium Laser Eye Centers, we look forward to working with you.